Shifting focus to the News 18 Rising Bharat Summit, a quick interaction with Grammy Award winner Ricky Cage.
See, it's always easy to talk to friends. Namaste, Jai Hind, and Namaste, Jai Hind.
Namaste to you. Great to be sitting down with you after a very long time, actually.
Okay, tell me, what are you busy doing these days? Composing change or changing compositions?
Composing, I mean that I would like to compose as much music as possible, and then once I compose that music, I like taking that music live in front of audiences. So I've been doing a lot of that, traveling around the world and performing my music everywhere possible.
Is there a formula to compose for the Grammys?
Of course, I've won it 3 times, but there's no formula to it. I guess the way that I work is that, and it's a boring answer, and I'm sorry for that, but the way I work is that I do not work based on current trends, as you know, and I do not work in the mainstream music of India, which is usually the movie industries of various, various languages. What I do is that I create music based on topics that are very near and dear to me and topics that I feel very strongly about. And so the music making process is absolutely sacrosanct, where I make the music based on what I feel like making, what is based on my sensibilities and my philosophy. But once I finish making the music, then I take off my creator hat and I put on my marketing hat, And then I take that music and then I try to give it an as wide audience as possible, even though it's niche music and it cannot go as mainstream as, as Bollywood or something like that. But I try to give it an as wide audience as possible all over the world. And that's what I do. So the marketing hat does not come on during the creation process. During the creation process is just me being a creator.
Don't tell me that you're not influenced by kya bikega aur kya nahi. Kya chalega aur kya nahi when you're trying to create something. Especially after you won the first Grammy, you want to win the next one. Okay, let me figure out.
No, but actually, if you look at art in general, like a person like, let's say, a person like Vincent van Gogh, if he was making a new painting, I cannot even imagine him going to all the neighboring art galleries and thinking that, okay, what is everybody else doing? What is in vogue? Let me do something like that.
Correct.
So I guess art is art. And for me, music is also an art form. And that's why I believe that the music making process should definitely not be consumed by what will sell or what will get accolades. It should be based on what I absolutely love and what I would love listening to. And make it a piece of you completely so that people in the future will be able to recognize what kind of a person you are by listening to the music that I create.
See, we recently saw the NBA halftime break, Dhurandhar being performed.
Exactly.
We've seen in Korea opening to RRR and Japanese going crazy about the RRR steps. But it's not that the West has not been, or the world has not known Bharatiya music. But I want to ask you now, how is it different today, the perception? Indian sounds, Indian tunes, Indian instruments. Someone like a Flipperachi uses a Shehnai for the tune. That means Indian instrumentation sounds are now becoming global. How do you see that? Because you've worked with rural children, you've worked with, women, you've worked creating music from the Northeast, you've brought instruments which are not even known to common Bharatiya from different parts of the country, and you've tried to globalize it. Are people receptive to such sound?
Absolutely, actually. So now when it comes to music in India, we can divide them into 2 major buckets. One would be the mainstream forms of music, which is usually the pop forms of music and, the movie music, the music that is made for movies. And the second style of music would be the more traditional forms of music. That is, your North Indian, your South Indian classical music, your tribal forms of music, Drupad, basically all your traditional forms of music. Now, the thing is that I'm going to try to keep this answer as short as possible, but the thing is that when it comes to breaking cultural barriers, I do not believe that the mainstream Bollywood music has actually broken cultural barriers. Simply because if you look at Bollywood composers and Bollywood singers, they perform all over the world and they're able to fill up stadiums, they're able to fill up complete auditoriums. But who shows up for these concerts? The only people who show up for these concerts are members of the Indian diaspora. There are a few Bollywood songs like you mentioned, which have actually broken cultural barriers, but you can count those songs on your 10 fingers. You know, there are very, very few songs that have actually broken cultural barriers. Whereas if you look at the classical musicians, like for example, when I was 19 years old, I had watched a Pandit Ravi Shankar concert in San Francisco, and I was shocked that the demographic of the people who are sitting down in the audience inside the theater was very representative of the demographic of the city itself. Like the city had a 5% Asian population. There were 5% Asians in the theater. There was about a 80% Caucasian population, 80% Caucasians inside the theater. Because people like Pandit Ravi Shankar, Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, Ustad Zakir Hussain, Pandit Vishwamohan Bhatt, these are artists who had actually broken cultural barriers and reached out to people who would normally not be exposed to Indian music.
पर एक बात बताइए, in today's day and age, अभी तो सब कुछ म्यूजिक, जिंगल, सब कुछ एंथम, सब AI से क्रिएट हो जाता है. तो how are you going to be able to compose in the future if AI is going to take over music?
So the thing is that AI is going to affect the music industry in a very big way, but technology has always done that. I remember in the early 2000s, something known as VSTI technology had come out where, you know, you could get very authentic instrument sounds on the keyboard and you could get very authentic instrument sounds using the computer. Everybody said that drummers are going to go out of fashion and guitarists are going to go out of fashion. But what happened? These musicians actually, you know, thrived rather than going out of fashion. It's the same with AI. AI will always be used as a tool in music making process. But what's going to happen is that the composers who do not have much creativity in them and composers who are just making generic forms of music, like for example, if a filmmaker is making a comedy movie and the filmmaker just wants some basic comedy music, or a filmmaker is making a horror movie and just wants some basic horror music. So for that, I think AI will take over. But where human beings will be very important is where a filmmaker or a composer requires a piece of music which has never been done before, which is unprecedented, which is completely new, which is absolutely unique. Because at the end of the day, AI uses machine learning and past precedents to create pieces of music. So what will be needed is that for us musicians to be constantly ahead of the curve and create music without precedents and create music that has never been heard before.
Right.
And create your own unique identity.
Right. Now, to that group there right at the back. Yeah. You are busy talking to each other. Now, have a look at these pictures. Have a look at these pictures and tell me, who do you see on these pictures? Can you turn your chairs towards us, please?
I can't see the pictures.
Fantastic. Have a look at these pictures and tell me, who's that?
I can't see the picture. There, I can see it on that screen.
Yeah. Who's that? Who do you see there on the picture? That table there. Yeah. I've got your attention now. Can I see your front, please, and not your back? Turn towards me, please. Thank you. Yeah. You see the pictures? Thank you. Tell me, who's that? Who's that on the pictures? You see the pictures here? Yeah. Who's that? The person sitting on the stage? Yeah? That's Ricky Cage. Who's the person next to him? That's the French president, Emmanuel Macron. And who's the person next to him? Prime Minister Modi. So this gentleman here on our stage was part of the French delegation that came to Bharat along with Emmanuel Macron and then went back. So it's the first time an Indian has been part of a French delegation and spent time in the plane. So now do you think this person deserves your attention and respect? Thank you. Turn around here, please. So tell us, how did this happen?
So thank you for that. And so President Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, he's been a friend of mine for a few years now. We first met at the state dinner where he had organized this beautiful state dinner at the Louvre Museum in honor of our Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji. So he had invited me and we had a beautiful talk because President Emmanuel Macron is also a musician and he loves the arts. And then we kept in touch after that. We also met in Saudi Arabia a little bit after that. And he believes that soft power is one of the most important, entities when it comes to bringing nations and bringing people together and bringing about people-to-people connections. So I happened to be in Paris at the time, that is last week, for a concert. And then that is when President Emmanuel Macron's team told me that President wants you to travel along with him in the plane to India